Hello, and welcome to the Beautiful AI Podcast, brought to you by Perfect Corp, the leading provider of AI and AR solutions in the world of beauty and fashion. This podcast explores the many ways AI innovation is enhancing the lives of consumers and creating a more beautiful world. Join our host, technology thought leader Wayne Liu, as he talks with industry leaders about the AI innovations influencing the world today. If you're interested in learning more about the transformative impact of AI, keep listening.
Hello and welcome to the Beautiful AI Podcast. This is where beauty meets technology. I'm your host, Wayne Liu. I'm the Chief Growth Officer and the President of Perfect America. So as always, we are here to explore the exciting way AI or other technology is transforming the beauty and the wellness industry. So in today's episode, I'm particularly excited because our guest is a very special person. She's a medical doctor. She's a plastic surgeon. She's an innovator. And then she actually is a visionary, and also she's my dear friend. So I'm so happy to have Dr. Eunice Park to join us today and talk about the technology journey and also her own journey. So welcome, Dr. Park.
Thank you so much, Wayne. It has been just really so exciting to see all of the ways the technology has been growing and its adoption over the years. And so I'm very excited to be on the podcast, and thank you for the invitation.
Yeah, so absolutely. So you're welcome. And before we jump into the podcast today, so actually I'd like to congratulate on many aspects. So first is you get not only just one, you get 2 awards from Beauty Matters. And also I just know recently AIREM's product is selected by Fortune magazine, Forbes, right? So it's like a part of the holiday gift suggestion list. Yes, so congratulations.
Yes, thank you so much. I mean, it's great to be recognized, especially as an independent brand. I think it's very hard to be able to break through and really get the awareness that sort of smaller brands really need. And so it's been a wonderful and exciting past year.
Yes. Thank you. Congratulations. Actually, before we dive into the world of AI and the medical spa, so let's start with your story. Can you just share a little bit about your journey as a facial plastic surgeon, and then just introduce a little bit about yourself, and then what inspired you to take the path, and then really, found this amazing brand, AIREM?
Yes, and so my background is in facial plastic surgery. I did a lot of my training in New York, and I started out after residency and fellowship in a very traditional practice, like a multi-specialty group practice. I've always been interested in entrepreneurship and have been very interested in just learning more about building businesses and also technology and all of the ways that technology can be incorporated to create better efficiencies in healthcare. And when I had this idea of starting a medical aesthetics brand that incorporates both Eastern and Western elements of beauty and technology in one setting, I knew that I did not have the experience and the knowledge to start the practice. And so I actually left my job as a partner in a very large medical group. And I went to an executive program at Kellogg Business School at Northwestern, and it's a physician entrepreneurship program. It's that program that allowed for me to be able to launch AIREM. And that was my business plan. We opened in November of 2020, which was really in the midst of COVID and one of the most difficult times to launch a new business. It was one of the most difficult times to construct a brick and mortar location. And it was through the very difficult process and a lot of the learnings that I gathered in that experience that then have allowed for us to be able to grow and expand to 3 different locations. And really, we're looking at another 1 to 2 locations opening up in 2025.
Wow, that's awesome. And then your journey is so inspiring. So it's incredible how passion and the purpose can create something so impactful. Let's talk about the medical spa industry. This industry has been booming over the past several years with significant interest and investment pouring into this area. So I just read a report like a couple of days ago. It says the medical spa are the fast growing segment in the aesthetic industry with about like a 17% increase. And then the 57%, especially, increase on this medical spa. And also the interesting thing here is this area attract lots of young audience, like a millennial and Gen Z. So I just want to, because you are expert in this area, just want to get a little bit information, like insight from you. So what's really driving the growth? Can you tell us more about this industry's opportunity as well as the challenge?
I think that when we looked at aesthetics, even about 10 years ago, it was really comprised of individual practices, right? Medical aesthetics is at the juncture of both business and healthcare. It is separated from all of the regulatory issues related to insurance reimbursement. There is a huge opportunity for growth in this industry, which traditionally used to be, in the skincare or makeup space. But now this entire area of clinical skincare that then goes into aesthetic procedures, there is a recurrent revenue stream that comes from this. And so because of all of these very, attractive elements from a business perspective, there is a huge influx of investment into this space. You have really everyone from VCs to private equity groups, and then the individual, small businesses that are playing in this space.
Yeah, so it seems like it's a great opportunity and potentially this one can be a new a channel for the beauty and the wellness through this medical spa and the aesthetic industry. It's very exciting to hear about this insight and the evolution of a medical spa. So of course, because we are in the beautiful AI podcast, so let's talk a little bit about AI. So I know we met like almost 3 years ago. I think pretty much the same, like a holiday season. You contact us that you are very interested. At that time, our AI skin analyzer is still pretty early, like 3 years ago. You say you are interested in do some so-called trial experiment with us. So I believe I remember you use our technology to host your holiday event with your client. Since you are really an innovator and then the pioneer in using AI, especially in this industry, how have this innovation like the AI skin analyzer, and of course we get the simulation technology impact your business? I believe it's quite positive. So that's why the benefit have you see both from your team and your client through this AI innovation.
I think that in the practice of aesthetics, there have always been a few challenges when it comes to visualization. We are in a field where visualization is so important. And yet the processes that were in place before were very cumbersome, clunky, right? We had photography, cameras, but at the same time, these skin analysis sort of programs that were out there required a lot of bulky equipment. You need a dedicated room, staff, and it wasn't very easy to use, right? It requires a lot of training. And so it's an area that I think was definitely ripe for like disruption, and there are a lot of opportunities there. When I first came across your technology, I thought, wow, wouldn't it be great, right? Because we have a wish list. As we're thinking through a wish list of, applications and tools that we can use to better streamline the business, wouldn't it be great to have a program that is very portable, right? Where you don't need an entire camera setup, pods where people have to like put their head into, it would be great to have a program that could run skin analyses, be able to generate a very reliable and accurate report, because that's very important. What we do is not just for fun, right? There are, fun programs out there like Facetune and different things like that. But when you're talking about a clinical medical treatment, you do need something that is standardized, accurate, and reliable. And we're looking for a program that can be able to allow to convey a lot of information, some information which is very technical, anatomical, in a very clear and concise way. So these are elements that I felt were very important when we considered what kind of technology to bring on. And so I have been following this space for quite a while. And when we came across the program, I was very excited because at that time, and this is 3 years ago. So 3 years ago in AI years was, I mean, it was still at a time where people really didn't know what AI was at all, right? It was like very early stages. And that's what drew me to testing out the program.
Yeah, so you are absolutely correct. Like 3 years ago, although AI being in, it's like more than 50 years, right? Since tooling has this machine, it's just booming in the probably like in the last 2 years, right? So since this ChatGPT coming. So as I said, you are innovator and then the trailblazer for this using AI. And I'm also so happy to see that AI can really solve the problem. Okay, so I always say that if we create AI, we are not trying to using AI to create problem. We are using AI to solve the problem. And based on your description, you're really like pointing to the point, like, you have a problem and then AI can actually solve it, especially for the patient's knowledge and then empower patients. So that one is very powerful. So you've been using AI for 3 years. And then so right now you integrate this, especially the AI skin analyzer into your practice. So looking ahead, what would you see this AI technology taking the medical spa and this aesthetic industry? Let's say for, usually this kind of questions the next 5-10 years, but for AI is really like a forever. So let's see in the next year or like 1 to 3 years, how do you foresee that? What's your wish list? So let's see if we can using AI to solve more problems.
I think that I envision AI skin analysis to be absolutely a standard part of the cosmetic consultation and analysis. The art and science of being in the medical aesthetics industry, as well as plastic surgery, is that there's a lot of subjectivity to analyzing what a patient needs. And there's also a lot of varying opinions. And so I think that being able to standardize, being able to create a single point, analysis is very important in this process. And I think it will be standard. I think there's so much opportunity here because I think the adoption rates are still quite low when you think about the entire medical aesthetics industry and the number of med spas and plastic surgery practices there are in the United States. I think the adoption rate is still low. So I think that the opportunity is huge to make it standard practice. I think also there is the power of visualizing before and after results. Much of what we do, whether it's textural changes in the skin or removing like fine lines and wrinkles, some of these before and after changes are subtle. And to somebody with an untrained eye and to somebody who is not looking at before and after pictures all the time, it is difficult to perceive, especially when results are subtle, like I said. So being able to utilize the AI skin analysis to be able to track results, I think that it allows for patients to feel that practices that are utilizing this technology are innovative. They're really at the utilizing cutting edge tools, and it fosters patient loyalty to the practice. And we see that in our growth numbers through the years.
Yeah, so I love the vision of the future, what you described, because that's really aligned with at least what I'm thinking, because standardization is very important. For example, you have 3 location, and then very soon you get 4, and potentially you get 10 or 20 or 30. So if we have a way to standardize this measurement, right? So if your patient today, they come to your Long Island location, they say, oh, your skin score is like a 75. And then tomorrow go to the Hampton one. It's very consistent across the board. So because it's conducted by a very scientific way. So that's really powerful, create some standardization and also for patients a peace of mind because they know if they come to a different location, actually there is a way, like a standardized way to measure them. And also, that's visualization, given the peace of mind. I remember in one of our sessions, we've been in the stage for many times. You talk about really patient is vulnerable. When they step into your office, they get a little bit scared or a lot of fear because they don't know what happened. But if you use this kind of a visualization to tell them where and how much and what problem you have, and then after probably the treatment or some kind of thing, how much you improve. So it's really reduce like the fear factor from the patient and also empower them.
If you're interested in this conversation and want to learn more about AI solutions for your business, consider booking a demo with Perfect Corp at www.perfectcorp.com/business. Contact us today and see how our selection of AI and AR solutions can take your business to new heights. Now, back to the episode.
Let's talk a little bit about the patient decision-making and the treatment outcome from your perspective. So by using this AI analyzer, how do you see what change, what's the difference, especially from patient's perspective?
Yeah, I mean, I think the last panel that you and I were speaking at together in New York City, we spoke about the efficiency, right? Utilizing the skin analysis tool, it allows us to create a very efficient consultation process. Any practitioner that is seeing patients will tell you that it's very important within the first 5 to 10 minutes to be able to really gain someone's trust. And so when a patient comes in, there are a lot of preconceptions that they may have. A patient may like Botox or not like Botox, may be open to surgery or not surgery, maybe open to lasers, but would like maybe doing Botox, but doesn't want to do fillers. I mean, we're talking about a whole list of specific opinions that someone has. And so how do we get down to the root, the exact sort of question that they're trying to answer, and being able to run the skin analysis and come up with a skin score and ask the patient, what 3 areas of concern do you have? Immediately, you can prioritize exactly what they are looking for. And it helps to make the consultation extremely efficient. And that's what I feel like has been one of the highlights of incorporating it into our practice.
Yeah, so that's such a powerful perspective, especially from the benefit of the patient. And then, let's change the angle from the patient to the doctor, to the practitioner or the operator. So I know for lots of our audience who are listening, they are interested in getting to, integrate this AI technology into their practice. And also, as you mentioned, like last time we were in this conference, actually lots of doctors are interested in, they know the benefit. They want to integrate, but how? Okay, especially some of them or many of them, they don't have the practice and training about integrated AI. So I know because you are like a quick learner, you're self-learner, and now you're getting to your practice. And then, but for other people, I guess they can pick your brain, as a sole leader, as I said, the pioneer to using AI in the medical industry. So what advice will you give it to the fellow plastic surgeon and the dermatologist who really want to integrate this AI into their workflow? Okay, step by step. Okay, so from probably first, get a technology, this kind of thing. So please let us know like your advice to your fellow medical doctor.
I love this question because I feel like I am asked this question oftentimes, especially after the conferences and the panels that we've been on. Post panel, there are people who come up to us and ask us a lot of questions. They say, I'm interested, but I don't know where to start. I think number one is exploring the technology. I think that every physician provider is extremely busy. You have to dive in. And I think you've made that easy, right? Because there is a trial period, but you really have to play. You have to explore and play with the technology and get a sense of how the practitioner is going to incorporate it into their workflow. And then number two, it's mapping out the workflow. Who is going to be doing this analysis at what point? And I can just share with you in our practice, when a new patient comes in, the medical assistant or the nurse who is onboarding that first patient, it's part of that initial process to do the skin analysis already. So the analysis is done even before I walk into the room. And so it's part of the intake process. And having that information and asking the question, that really important question, which is what are your top 3 areas of concern in relation to the skin analysis? And it will be different than what someone would assume. Someone could look at the analysis and assume that this person may want to talk about wrinkles or volume or laser, but it could be very different. They can say, oh, actually, I have done a lot of non-surgical treatments and I only want to talk about surgery. So you can envision how the conversation, there could be a lot of time wasted if we didn't really get that information in the very beginning about non-surgical treatments that the patient is not interested in. So we've really honed down this process. So going back to exploring the tool, mapping out who is going to be processing and running the AI skin analysis, and being able to incorporate that into the consultation process. Then I think that when our team, our nurses, our surgeons, our doctors, when they come up with the treatment plan, we always make sure that it addresses their top three concerns, right? So we have a comprehensive treatment plan that addresses your top three concerns with these particular treatments or surgeries. And having a point person on your team that is responsible for making sure that the app is updated appropriately, that all the customization is being utilized. I mean, there's a lot of very strong features. I speak about the brand customization. I actually think that's very, very important. Being able to bring up a skin analysis tool that has perhaps a picture of the practice, the brand logo, those things always make it feel very cohesive to the patient. And it doesn't make the patient feel like there are all of these different tools that are being used to capture private information or sensitive information. So I think all of that is very important.
That's very valuable advice. So thank you so much, Dr. Park. So I guess we can go now and now, because there's lots of interest topic we can talk about. But for the interest of the time, so I have the last question for you. That question is more like a high level, advice, because it's such a, from all kind of different measure, you are a very successful woman. Okay. You are businesswoman because your AIREM is like a growing expansion. And then you are a medical doctor. You really try to empower, your patient and then treat them and then solve their problem. So I guess the last question I have for you is, do you have any advice for this young girl? Because lots of our audience, it's really like young girls. They have a dream. They have a passion. Can you give them some advice? So how will they, during their the journey of adventure, how do they try to fulfill their dream, try to fulfill their passion? So can you give them some advice on that?
I think it is so important to find what it is that you love to do. And at AIREM, we mentor medical students, pre-med students. And the advice that I share with them is that it's just as important to know what you don't want to do as it is important to know what you really love to do. And I feel like you really have to get your hands dirty and get into it. And that's true in so many parts of medical practice and medical education. There are so many specialties out there. So how would one know that they want to be a cardiothoracic surgeon versus a geriatrician? I mean, you have to really jump into the experience, be able to, observe and participate. And I think that that doesn't happen passively. We live in a world where the internet, social media consumes a lot of our time, but we have to jump in and experience lots of different specialties and opportunities in order to learn what it is that we really love to do. I think that for me, I always knew that I wanted to be in medicine, but it wasn't until I was in a head and neck surgery, facial plastic surgery, actual case that I knew that I really enjoyed the anatomy of doing that. And it wasn't until I was in practice that I realized, you know what, I really love the idea of starting my own practice and I want to learn more about what it takes to launch a brand. And I knew that I didn't have that experience. So it's really, I'm a mom of three kids. And so it was only after I had my third child that I decided to do the executive program at Kellogg. And that was really challenging because having three very young children at home and going back to school and commuting back and forth between New York and Chicago at a time where I had young kids was very difficult. But I knew that if I didn't do that, if I didn't have the tools to understand how to even launch a business, I wouldn't be able to do that. So again, you really have to immerse yourself with very, supportive people, but create an environment where you can go after the opportunities that present itself. So you have to create a system that supports you. And I think for me, I had just the advantage of asking a lot of questions and asking people who I felt knew a lot more than me, who had a lot more experience than me, how to be able to get the tools to be able to get to where I want to go. And I still feel that way. I feel like the most important aspect is also networking, right? I mean, that's kind of how I met you. And I feel like connection with people, with very smart people, successful people, being able to ask them questions and use them as a sounding board for your ideas is really important. And then it gets to the point where, at least now, at this point right now, it's so challenging to be in healthcare. It's so challenging to be a small brand in a huge field where private equity and venture capital dominates. But at the same time, to be able to do something very fun and rewarding and creative and innovative, those things are extremely rewarding and satisfying. So being able to be in that position is, I think, a big blessing for me.
Amazing, amazing sharing. So get your hand dirty, create a system to support you, and then make a connection and enjoy it. So that's
Yes,
how
definitely enjoy it.
yeah, they enjoy it. So that's why I thank you so much for sharing this expertise and the insight with us. I know you are busy. You have three lovely kids. You have three location. Now you are going to the fourth location. And I know you take international trip quite frequently to go to a different conference and speaking. So with all these, all these tasks and work, you can still find the time to join us today. So I really appreciate that. So before we wrap up, I know our listener that definitely they want to learn from you. They want to know more about AIREM and know about you. So how this listener can contact and get more information about your practice and your brand.
Yes, thank you. AIREM.com, AIREM.com is a great way to explore the brand. AIREM comes from the Korean word for beauty, 아름다운, and we offer a lot of, clinical Korean beauty protocols and treatments in what we do. And also on LinkedIn, I think connecting with me directly on LinkedIn is a great way to connect. And I've made some, very interesting and amazing connections through the platform, and always open to just discussing AI technology, also medical aesthetics business development as well. So I definitely look forward to connecting with your viewers. And I do want to say that I really appreciate Perfect as a partner. I think that oftentimes, again, as a smaller practice and a smaller brand, it's hard to connect with very high level partners. It's been an amazing journey working together. And I'm very excited for the new features that you'll be rolling out, especially as it relates to simulation and all of the very, very advanced tools that are coming out in the future. And excited to talk about that soon.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Thank you, Dr. Park. And also, for our listener, of course, if you are listening to the episode, we all have information, AIREM, AIREM.com. And also you can find Dr. Park, Eunice Park from the LinkedIn. And then thanks everyone for tuning in. Thank you for joining us today. And then please don't forget to subscribe to the Beautiful AI podcast for more conversation with the industry leader like Dr. Park and the innovator. So until next time, stay inspired and keep embracing the beautiful possibility of AI. Thank you so much. And then thank you, Dr. Park. Thank you.
Thank you.
We hope you enjoyed listening to the Beautiful AI podcast. To continue exploring the world of beautiful AI and technology innovation, subscribe to the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and be sure to join us for our next episode.